Welcome. In front of me is a OnePlus Nord CE2, and today I'll show you a couple tweaks and the tricks you can do on this phone. So anyway, let's get started with the personalization section of this phone by going into the settings and then scrolling down to personalizations. Select allow right here, and this will present us with all the things that we can personalize on this phone, neatly organized in a single category right here. So we have a couple basic things like the wallpapers, which I'm not really going to go into because who cares. We have clocks and ambient display, meaning the always on display. They just got to add some additional flair to it, so everybody can get confused what they mean by ambient display instead of always on display that everybody else uses. Then we have a fingerprint animation, so if you're using the under display fingerprint, you can actually change the animations right here. So we have a couple different ones that are right here. So there we go, you can pick one that you like, and it's basically as complex as it gets. But going further into the options right here, that's where we start to get some ones that you don't really see on many other phones. So we have icon style. Obviously you can change those on basically any kind of launcher, and some of the skins from different brands do allow that as well, though not every. Then we have colors, which now we're starting to narrow down the brands that actually have this option. So what this allows you to do is just change the accent colors, meaning, for instance, if you pull down, as you can see, my toggles are blue right now, and everything is basically blue. So I could change it to, as an example, orange. Select apply, and there we go. As you can see, it's now completely different. You can also change the shape of these toggles right here. So they are circle right now. We can change them into square, another square, or circle, actually a little bit more round square, so just all kinds of different squares. So anyway, I just select one, and again, as you can see, it automatically affects it. Then we have horizon light, which is just this kind of thing. Personally, I think this is the most useless option right here, just because this is not even a curved display. Previously, this kind of option was designed so when you have your device like this, you kind of see the glow on the sides from it, but nowadays it just completely serves no purpose for this, and it's more as an aesthetic kind of thing, which when you get a notification, usually your screen turns on anyway, so it's absolutely pointless at this point. So I'm just gonna back out of this and completely ignore this option. So there we go, that's the first one with personalization. Now the second one is just a dark mode, which you can access by going into the display and brightness right over here, and you have the switch, so you can choose light or dark, but you also have below that auto switch, which allows you to choose if you want your phone to switch automatically based on, for instance, time of day, which is actually a really neat feature. So your phone will basically switch to dark mode during the nighttime, as an example, and during the daytime it will be in light mode, and it will automatically switch between both of those every single day. So I would consider this to be the best option, which I would recommend utilizing. So it's already enabled if you decide to go with the auto switch like so. Anyway, moving on to the next option, which is also in here, is going to be the video enhancer, which is a little bit lower right here. You can tap on it, and it gives you kind of side-by-side images of how it, quotation mark, enhances the video, but in most simplest term, just so we're on the same page, this just kind of brightens up the image, adds a little bit deeper shadows, and then probably adds a little bit more saturation to the image to make it stand out a little bit more. Fortunately, we only have, or not fortunately, but unfortunately, we only have one image to kind of showcase this, so it's not the best showcase of this feature right here, but we can turn it on, and this will basically affect every kind of video anywhere you play it all the time. Now moving on to the next option, it's going to be the refresh rate, which you can also find in the display section, though you need to go all the way down to more, and right here you have screen refresh rate. And in here, all I recommend you to do is make sure that it is set to high. This will make your display run at 90 Hz, and then you also have the 60, though this one will be a little bit less smooth. So 90 is it's gonna look generally better, but will consume a little bit more battery. And let's see if it does anything else. High refresh rate, max 90 Hz for smooth operation. Power usage be increased, so okay, so it does not give us any kind of indication that it runs at a lower frame rate, apart from maybe that it maxes out at 90. So I'm gonna check one little thing for all our sake, which is I'm gonna go to about phone and then build number, whatever that is. Let's see. Nope, we don't have developer options enabled. It should be somewhere here. And sorry for that earthquake that you probably seen like 5 seconds ago. Where is the software? Nope, that just checks for updates, support. Okay, another phone where I cannot find a flippin' build number on this. Let's try to search for it. There we go. Okay, so we have just enabled developer options, and the reason for this is we can now enable show refresh rate. So this will now display right here how the display is running on what kind of refresh rate. But judging from just right now, the quick look, it is always running at 90 Hz, which is absolutely disappointing, considering I think even OnePlus was the one that was pushing this kind of like variable refresh rate. Well, a RIP variable refresh rate from OnePlus. Now, the reason why I wanted to check this out and why I consider this to be an important information is because when the display is running constantly at 90 Hz and you're using it constantly, it will consume significantly more battery for no reason. And that is very unfortunate when you're not doing anything on the display. There is no reason for it to be running right now at 90 Hz when it's just a still image that isn't moving a single effing pixel. So that's a shame. For this reason alone, you will most likely experience a significantly lower battery life compared to just a 60 Hz, just because that is a slower refresh rate, meaning the device needs to work less to actually keep that up and display this kind of refresh rate. So if you want to prioritize battery life, I do recommend going with the 60 instead of the 90. Real shame, honestly. Anyway, let's move over to next thing that I wanted to show you, which is a RAM boost. Now this simply just boosts RAM, or maybe not even boosts it, but optimizes it. That's basically a more accurate description of what it does. Now this option is located in additional settings, so let's tap on additional settings and select RAM boost, and as you can see, optimize RAM utilization based on your usage. And what this does is basically clears out, for instance, whatever is using your RAM in times that the device expects you to not need that. So as an example, if you have some kind of app running in the background and the device knows that you usually don't use that app at this time, it will just kind of terminate it to give you more RAM for other apps that you might be actually using at the moment. And it will then keep these apps as long as it thinks, based on like AI or machine learning, that you might be using this app. So this might work better later on once you start using it for some time, but at the beginning it might not actually show you any kind of advantages. And still, even that being said, those advantages aren't going to be that apparent. It's just kind of gonna load certain apps tiny bit faster than other ones, so that's basically the benefit of it. So you will have just quicker access to certain apps that the phone thinks that you probably will be using. So all we'll do is toggle this on, and that's about it. And last thing that I want to go into is the gesture navigation. So usually on this phone you had the option throughout the setup process to choose your gestures, if you want to use obviously gestures or the buttons, but if you want to change them later on, to do so you can navigate to convenience tools, so settings, and right here convenience tools, and in here we'll have navigation. And as you can see, we have the gestures, which I'm using for the entirety of this video and my preferred way of navigating to the device, but you also have the option for buttons, and this will just throw on the buttons at the bottom. So there we go. So this would conclude the list of things that I want to show you, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.